Hello, welcome once again to Mount Tabor Grand Lodge YouTube channel. I am Grandmaster Ware. Let me give a brief commercial here. I would like to ask and say that if you have been blessed or benefited by any of our videos, become a partner by supporting our program financially. You can text GIVE, to 281-524-4344 and share whatever is in your spirit to help us financially to continue our purpose. You can also visit Amazon.com and purchase a copy of Masonic Maturity Through Scripture or the Blue Lodge Holy Bible Reference Guide, available in both paperback and Kindle. In them, you will find information on the changes that you seek. Now, all of this information is in our About section of our YouTube channel. And as always, we ask that you continue to like, follow, and share us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and please, by all means, tell others about Mount Tabor Grand Lodge YouTube channel. Okay, as I like to say, let's pet this puppy. The title of this video is In the Midst of Babylon. You know, before we get too deep into 2021, let's do some house cleaning. And what we've talked about in the past is recognizing and adjusting. Recognizing, at this point, we need to recognize that 2020 was a very difficult year for many of us, probably for most of us. 2020 presented challenges most never expected, and many never thought such things would happen to them. You know, in many ways, America began to take on the character of Babylon, that of fear, greed, and corruption. Now, Babylon employs 7 henchmen to ride and rule over the land. They are greed, which is stimulated by fear of poverty and or of loss. They are another one is revenge, which is the travel companion for greed. Then we have egotism. That's the me first attitude. And of course, along with that, we have suspicion next to him, which is the twin to egotism. Then jealousy, which is just pure insanity, paranoia, schizophrenia, dementia. It's really working with the head. And of course, intolerance, because there you have a closed mind. Now, the 7th rider is your personal. It could be dishonesty, it could be procrastination, it could be addiction, some addiction of sorts. But the job of these henchmen is to ride through the land and infect people with their poisonous ideas. You know, these henchmen stokes the fire of me, myself, and I by promising things. But I want you to make note. There are 2 things you should make note of. Number 1, by thinking and working to promote self first, you end up alone. Those who sought to put self first in 2020 are finding themselves alone in 2021. Striving to be number 1 can lead you to a life of fear, paranoia, and destruction. The second thing I want you to make note of is that all things are temporary and will bring moments of happiness. But true joy and peace will only come through godly relationships. So, although the name Babylon was to mean the gate of God, it is a counterfeit of God's gifts and goodness. It's the opposition to the rule of God by world powers. And in the midst of this Babylonian year, 2020, we were to build our house not made with hands, our spiritual house. So I'm going to say to you, life is still built and revolves around relationships. You know, true masonry is one beggar telling another beggar where to find a slice of bread. Proverbs 11:25 says, "He who waters shall he himself be watered." And as a true Mason, you can't ride with Babylon's henchmen. As a Christian, you can't ride with Babylon's henchmen. The repercussions or rewards of your decision can follow you and your family for up to 4 generations. Now, you know, people generally seek 3 things in their lives. First thing is to believe. To believe is to accept as true. Now, the devil is a master counterfeiter. But you need to know there's a Christian doctrine, there's a Masonic doctrine, there's a Satan's doctrine. And each man has to decide which doctrine he will base his life on. Now, most people want to take a little of this and a little of that, but that doesn't work, because a house divided will not stand. Your doctrine is your system of belief. Now, Satan's doctrine is worldly. That is, only the strong survive, kill or be killed, by any means necessary. Satan's doctrine is to keep you busy with non-essentials, introduce you to schemes, and overstimulate your mind so that you can't hear that little quiet, still voice of truth that is being directed to you. Now, the Christian and the Masonic doctrines promote unity and love between men, realizing that everyone is a part of the whole. If you were watching in 2020, it revealed to us the importance of everyone in providing goods and services that we use every day. Imagine for a moment if we didn't have the garbage men. Or what about the people that worked at the wastewater treatment plants? Okay? Now, early in your initiation, you were asked, in whom do you trust? Basically, what doctrine are you following? Whose word do you accept as true? Your answer was well-founded, and you were allowed to proceed, because in Psalms 118, verse 8, it says that it is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in man. You see, a man's dominant belief will eventually shine through. And if a man do it with you, he'll do it to you. Isaiah 26:3 says, "Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord is an everlasting rock." And the Masonic order can lead you to that rock. So Freemasonry promotes discipline, which aids in cementing one's belief system. The second thing people seek is to belong, to be attached. It's a basic desire we all share. You came in search of, asking to be admitted. My question is, why here? Now, Solomon gave us a very good answer in Ecclesiastes chapter 4. The answer Solomon gave us was real truth that no one can dispute. And that simply is, 2 are better than 1. Woe to him that is alone. He lies exposed to many temptations, which good company and friendship would prevent and help him to guard against. But now, keep in mind, Proverbs 13:20 says that he that walk with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. So I'm saying to you, error and vice are infectious. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, "Do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals." Those who seek to keep their innocence must keep good company. That's why I always say, search for a kindred spirit, others who believe as you do. Men of the Masonic order should be mutually serviceable to each other's welfare, and by a united strength more likely to do good to others, even outside of the group or outside of the lodge. It is almost universally recognized that members, through their obedience to Masonic principles and precepts, have been and are advanced in morals, they elevated in the nobler virtues of life, and are induced to better living and higher spiritual qualities. So, by evidence of your petition and response to several questions, you express a desire to belong to the Masonic order. In that first degree of Masonry, you were asked, who are you and what do you want? The reason we ask that question is because Freemasonry is a virtuous environment where a good man may belong. So you can find a place to belong within the lodge. And after brief trials and testing, you were, based on your manhood, allowed to proceed to the third thing that people seek most, and that is to become, to come into existence. Now, to undergo a change purposefully requires focus. We are told in 1 Kings 2:2 that the Lord has plans for welfare and not evil, to give us a future and a hope. But now I will tell you, even God's promises are not free, in that we must be or become worthy to receive them. So Freemasonry seeks to teach, correct, and train its members in the ways of righteous living. In the very first degree of Masonry, you are introduced to 9 character words that, when accepted into your spirit, will lay the foundation for all growth and elevation. To become, you must be focused. James 1:8 says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, which tells us you can't follow more than one doctrine. Let's go back to Solomon. 1 Kings 11:28. He promoted Jeroboam because of his industrialism, and he minded his own business. Ponder this. Unless you are the player, the coach, or the owner, it is basically a waste of your time to get involved with discussing, texting, Facebook posting on what other people are doing. Again, you can't afford to get caught up in the world's conflicts because they will dim your focus. Over 80 years ago, Reinhold Niebuhr, I might pronounce it wrong, but he was given credit for the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. In 1 Thessalonians 4, verses 11 and 12, it tells us that we are commanded to study so that we may have lack of nothing. So, to become what you came for, you have to show yourself in all respects to be a good works, and in your teachings, you have to show dignity and integrity. So at this point, you can't afford to let interest, favor, prejudice, any of that damage your integrity or lead you to dishonorable actions or words. Only when we act within the lines of wisdom and discretion do we accomplish our task and fulfill our purpose. which is the building of a house not made with hands. So as Masons, I want you to know you are a force. And as such, the Masonic decalogue, which serves as law to each entered apprentice and above, applies to you. Freemasonry provides the tools needed to become what you were meant to become. Now these 10 these are excerpts of the 10 Masonic decalogues, Masonic 10 commandments. Number 1, God is eternal, immutable wisdom and supreme intelligence. Thou shalt adore, revere, and love him. Number 2, thy religion shall be to do good, because it is a pleasure to thee and not merely a duty. Number 3, thou shalt unceasingly war against vice, and thou shalt keep burning the light of wisdom. Number 4, thou shalt pay respect and homage to the aged. Thou shalt instruct the young. Thou shalt protect and defend infancy and innocence. Number 5, thou shalt cherish thy wife and thy children. Thou shalt love thy country and obey its laws. Number 6, thy friend shall be to thee a second self. Number 7, thou shalt avoid and flee from insincere friendships. Thou shalt in everything refrain from excess. Number 8, thou shalt allow no passion to become thy master. In fact, thou shalt make passions of others profitable lessons for thyself. Number 9, thou shalt hear much, speak little, act well. Thou shalt render good for evil. Thou shalt not misuse thy strength or thy superiority. Number 10, thou shalt study to know men, that thereby thou may learn to know thyself. Thou shalt seek after virtue, and thou shalt be just. These are the Masonic 10 Commandments, Masonic Decalogue, official name of it. And it says also, but the great commandment of Masonry is this, that ye shall love one another. He said that he that say he's in the light and hate his brother remains in the dark. He that stirs strife and confusion in or out of the lodge is not a Mason. So by believing and obeying the words of your VSL and practicing the principles and precepts of Freemasonry, you will be separated from this Babylonian atmosphere, and you will not be affected by its fear, greed, and corruption. So if you want to find something to believe in, Freemasonry will aid you in that. If you want to belong, Freemasonry will aid you in teaching you how and what to belong to. And if you want to become, Freemasonry will aid you in becoming. Thank you for your time. Remember, at Mount Tabor Grand Lodge, we are added value. We don't levitate, we elevate. Please go to our About section and support our video program. Thank you.